Yeah, what episode is it?
Hang on.
Yeah, season 4, episode 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. You're going to have to trim the front of this because you've already started recording, unless you want to stop and start again.
No, because I always put this stuff in because people love it.
No, take it out.
No, the people love it, Carl.
No, they don't.
They do. They love seeing your hairy face.
No.
Getting all frustrated. Don't. They do. They love seeing how upset you get.
Yeah, well, because it's unprofessional, dude. Like, come on, like, trim that shit.
I'm so leaving this in here now.
No, don't. You got to trim it.
Oh. Give us a countdown. Count us in. You know you love count us in. Come on, you know you love the counting us in. And you know I'm leaving. You know I'm going to leave this in.
But it seems so redundant now.
Count us in. Count us in, keyboard.
3, 2, 1. This is an absolute shit show. Right, episode 10, season 4. We've already talked about this. We had to check it on our YouTube because that's how well prepared we are. You are listening to the Keyboard Warrior, Carl Atlas, and the Mighty Mad Dog. We are the Beards, the hairiest tag team in British wrestling today, and the presenters of this podcast. And it's just me and the Bearded Brethren in today, and you know what we do. We like to slam a topic in the chair and take it to the razor's edge. We're going to talk about some current stuff, and then we're going to talk about something personal. Thank you for joining us. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that lovely goodness that you guys know how to do. Chop that button. Takes a second, and it means the world to us. We got a Patreon as well. Tell them about it, Mad Dog.
Yeah, Patreon. You'll find the link below. www.patreon.com/MaddogAtlas and Atlas and Mad Dog. Yeah, if you subscribe on the Patreon, you can back us for a Starbucks. You can buy a coffee for us, or for £5 a month, you get early access to these videos. I put a private link up. We put our private comments. You can talk to us in private on Patreon. We're going to be putting training videos, montage videos, highlight videos, things that will only be available on Patreon will be listed on Patreon, and you get early access. There's some other levels as well, but yeah, please, the link's below. And if you can't, we can't afford to support us on Patreon, just hit the subscribe button.
Yeah. Right. Well, look, sorry. I suppose we should start with an apology for the shambolic way that we started this, and the fact that we might seem like we're off a step. So we are behind in terms of delivering the episodes. Mad Dog was poorly last week and was unable to do the recording when I was free. And this week I have not been well either. I don't know if you can tell. I am currently sucking on the old classic Jakemans, trying to fight off a cough and a cold. It's not the corona. I'm free on that part, but it's just the seasonal stuff that's going around. My son's got it. He brought it into the house, probably through nursery. You know how these things go. And yeah, to be honest, it sucks because being ill, all you want to do is sit on arse and eat crap, which is totally not what I want to be doing right now. I want to be in the gym. I want to be training, but life takes over.
That's where I've been. That's where I've been tonight.
Yeah,
getting it on.
He sends me these pictures to make me feel guilty. But I did say that I am relieved that if it's going to hit, I'm glad it hit now because I want to be healthy for some.
We've got a couple of weeks. We've got 2 weeks, and this is our weekend off. Yeah. And then we've got a run of shows. So
yeah, so if it was going to hit, I'm glad it hit now, so I can get over it and then get back on it. And
because we've got Paul and Crawley, and then you've got UPW.
I've got my
3 big matches, but you've got 2 big matches. We've got 2 tag matches, Paul and Crawley, and then you've got your big singles, real big blowout event.
I've got a few really big ones coming up, down the pipeline that I can't say too much about, but I know they're coming. And I just, you want to be on your top form for those ones. And going into a match with a cold and just feeling rubbish is not the way to go. I would have muscled through it somehow, but I'm much happier knowing that I've got rid of it and I can go into it healthy. Anyway, we should probably talk current events, I guess. But we're not going to harp on too much because we know that, by the time we hit these things, it's always old news and people have talked about it to death. But there is one particular thing or one aspect of this that I want to talk about with you, Mad Dog. And I haven't shared with Mad Dog in the preamble how I feel about this particular topic. So his reactions are going to be completely natural, live, and probably uncensored, knowing him. So, basically. So we had AEW Grand Slam, right?
Yes.
Where they basically booked a mega show, a pay-per-view quality card, and then gave it away for free.
Oh.
It was like their normal weekly TV, and they just named it Grand Slam and booked a couple of big matches. But when I say big matches, they gave away the big match. They gave away Omega versus Danielson. Not only did they put it on this free show, they also opened the show with it.
Really?
But yeah,
wow.
Man, they gave it. Yeah, man. I mean, it was a half an hour Broadway. And they gave it to us straight out of the gate. Now, that kind of goes in line with their booking philosophy lately, if you think about it, because the night that CM Punk debuted, they opened the show with it.
Yeah, big band,
I think it's that mentality of like people, giving the people what they want immediately as soon as you possibly can. And also, people can focus on what happens after it, not having the forethought of like, I can't wait for that one. That was good, but they don't have that. That was good, but they had the whole that was good. Now we get to watch the rest of the show. It's an interesting risk.
It's an interesting risk, right? Because a match like Omega and Danielson, you could really blow your wad.
I mean, it slaps of we're going to do everything that WWE doesn't. It is very much counter. It's counterintuitive to the normal booking style, and let's face it, the normal booking style is the WWE booking style. That's what we've become used to. And if AEW is going to shake it up and break the mold, people are going to go, bro, they gave us the main event first, and it was off its head, off its tits. People are going to talk because it's something different, and that will get into people's ears that may not be aware of the product. And this is my point, right? So there's been lots of conjecture online. People like to comment about this whole like, it smacks of WCW again. Goldberg versus Hogan. They gave it to us away for free on Nitro, and that was the beginning of the end. People like to kind of rewrite history in their own way, don't they?
Well, they like to rewrite history of their own narrative, right?
Yeah, make it work for their point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, hold on. I think this is genius because people are saying, yes, it should have been held for a pay-per-view where you can actually bank on it and make some money off of it. And because I
said that, didn't I? I said Danielson versus anyone, but especially against Omega. But Danielson versus anyone is money. But Danielson versus Omega, like arguably at both in their careers, arguably right now, people have said at numerous times that both those guys individually in commentary, they've said this is the best worker on the planet. Not at the E, not at ROH, not for this moment in time. Literally across the board, that guy is just the best worker on the planet, right? They've both had that accolade assigned to them relatively recently, right? So to have that match and not make money on it, brave. Fuck me. Well, deep pockets.
This is it. I think it's genius because Tony Khan clearly doesn't give a hoot about the money, right? At this point, he's like you said, he's got deep pockets. So making money off that match was not the goal for him. I think the goal for him was, well, I don't need the money right now. What I need is more people watching my product.
Yeah, man. So it's like giving away. It's like putting the Kellogg's cornflakes on the front foyer at 50 pence cheaper than your own brand, right? People come in, they grab the cornflakes, and they do the rest of their shopping thinking they're getting a bargain.
Yeah, it's that classic kind of people are going to talk. And those casual fans who haven't quite committed to, I'm going to watch AEW now, they're not going to jump in on a pay-per-view. They're not going to drop $20 odd or whatever it is.
I think it's like 30 quid, I think.
Exactly, like to watch a pay-per-view for a product that they're not already familiar with. So it's like a gateway drug. It's like, boom, have this for free, see what we're about, and if you like it, stick around for a while.
And not only that, have the best, and I guess also have the best match we could possibly give you. Like
it's a showroom. It's an advert. It's like putting the best, like you said,
it's a loss leader. It's a loss leader, right?
Yeah,
it's a loss leader.
Putting the best stuff out in front so people can see it. They don't have to wait for it. You give them the best first, and then they're like, "Oh wow, that really impressed me. I'll probably stick around for the rest now."
Plus, the best super matches come in threes anyway.
So this is the other part of it, and this is why again it's genius.
Because you get one win each, and then you have to have a decider, right?
They didn't even do that. They went a 30-minute draw. They went Broadway, which great. You know, it leaves it wide open. The story is still completely free to go the way it wants to go.
Almost untold, really, with a draw. It's almost untold.
Exactly. All we got was a teaser trailer. We got a teaser trailer. It was a 30-minute long teaser trailer, but it was like, this is what you're going to get if you stick around and watch the whole feud and see when it actually ends.
I want to watch this now. I didn't watch Grand Slam, but I want to watch it now because I bet that match was off its tits.
Well, you know me. I've put it on the back burner. It's definitely on my it's at the top of my I'm going to watch this list, because the rest of the card sounded pretty good too, bro. Like MJF versus Brian Pillman Jr. Okay, yeah, I think that'll probably be solid.
Pillman Jr. is like a bloody carbon copy. He's like a clone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's quite there yet, but what I've seen, I've enjoyed. I'd like to see some more, and I think MJF is probably the perfect foil for him at this point. The rest of the card, we had Malachi Black. I'm not the biggest fan, but this makes sense to me. Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. I'm on board for that. Sting and Darby Allin versus the FTR. I know you're not a huge thing with Sting, but I like the way they're using Sting. I think they've used Sting better than WWE did when they had him. I think he's middling around. He's helping elevate guys like Darby Allin. He's not overstepping his mark. I like it. And then Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. Now you're a big fan of Ruby Riott / Soho,
and Britt Baker. Britt Baker's amazing, man. She's really good.
So the whole show is worth checking out. And I don't even think that's really the end of it. If I'm right, they've kind of got another show which has been booked as strongly, as in CM Punk is wrestling someone on that card. It's not Grand Slam, but it's like I think it's their Dynamite show or something, but they've kind of booked it as the follow-up to this one.
That's the only thing I would say. The one thing I would say about AEW that confuses the shit out of me as a non-watcher, right? There's so many TV products. They got so many TV products.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's two main ones that you need to follow if you want to follow the product. But yeah, I think what you're confusing there is that it's not AEW is got loads of products. It's just there's just loads of products.
Maybe.
There's so much to watch now.
You can't watch it all. You can't.
Unless you're Dan Barnstable, in which case, fair play. I don't know how the guy does it. Or indeed Simon Miller, those guys just seem to consume the product, which is amazing. But I mean, my point is that I think Tony Khan at the moment is an evil genius, in terms of, he knows that he's just spent out on two of the biggest guys ever, and he's played them very well, in my opinion. He's basically gone, right, if I've only got you for 3-4 years, I don't know how long their contracts are that they've signed or how long they've got in the tank. We're going to use you to sell AEW to everyone. And then once you're done, hopefully I'll have enough eyes on the product that I can start to worry about, turning MJF and Darby Allin and guys that have kind of started off with us into the big names, And I know I've said in the past that I don't think the monopoly is going to shift. And I still believe that. I still think that people are thinking AEW is going to be the death of WWE. Their heads in the clouds. I do feel some tectonic shifts. There's I think AEW is definitely now the number 2 brand, 100%, and could well become some serious competition. I don't think WWE is in danger, although the whole kind of, if they sell, that could be interesting. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan. These dream matches, they're delivering, and I think Tony Khan is an evil genius. I really do. I think he's playing it really well.
It sets the tone for the rest of us as well. I'm saying this all the time. I'm sick of me saying it, but like they're setting the tone, and like more is more.
Yeah,
more is more.
Like I said, like, more is more. Everything. They're doing everything the WWE isn't. People are getting bored of what the WWE are giving them, and so AEW is going, well, come over here,
and it will spin, and the circle will go back round. Like WWE is very much less is more, right? Very much like have your move set, deliver it well, deliver it every time you go out there. Boom, 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 rinse and repeat. Here's a very scripted product. Raw, heavily scripted, far too long, very little in way of creating a environment for new characters to come through. The dissension there isn't just in the fans now. Like, there's a problem when the fans have been saying for years that the E don't know how to build someone. Look how long it's taken them to get Roman to a place. You know what I mean? And that's with fucking Paul Heyman on the job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He can make fucking diamonds out of dog shit. And I'm not saying that's because Roman's anything wrong with Roman. I always thought Roman was, when they did the Shield, Roman was the one that I was like, he's the one. Out of the three of them, it's not because he's the biggest. He has that dynamic A+ star quality look and feel about him, But they don't have that creative engine. They don't have that development engine on their main product. And sometimes people suffer for that. And but when you've got people like Foley coming out and saying, when there's people from the back of the fucking stage saying, yeah, hold our hands up, creative can't fucking write for shit. But you're like, whoa, hang on. And then you got something like AEW coming along, which is literally tailoring the thing is they're tailoring their product for a piece of the market, right?
Yeah.
They're going for a very specific demo. Just so happened that demo is very variable and very loud. Like 6 to 12-year-olds are on the internet making lots of noise, right? Making lots of comments. Hopefully, because their parents should be stopping, should be monitoring their internet usage, right? Your 18 to 40-year-olds, 18 to 45 demo or 18 to 35 demo, they got money. They spend on merch. They buy pay-per-views. They visit and go to shows without having to ask permission. It's a very clever demo to go after.
Yeah. Here's the thing about the WWE, right? I have a theory about this as well. Because do you remember it was like maybe a year or two after they basically bought out the competition, WCW was dead in the water. People kind of refer to those years as like the dark years because the product almost immediately got staler and kind of the in-ring product started to scale back in terms of its epicness, and the matches weren't quite so hellacious, and the storylines weren't quite so kind of attention grabbing. And everyone said, oh, it's because they don't have the competition anymore. They don't feel the need. I've got this feeling that it was deliberate. I think Vince looked at we upped the ante so much with the Attitude Era and the War. It was taking its toll. Yeah, well, exactly. We've built it up to the point where we can't go any further. Our talent was putting bodies on the line more than they probably should have been. Contracts and storylines and everything got too outrageous. I think they deliberately dumbed down the product and slowed it down and made it worse, almost unwatchable, knowing that there was nothing else to watch anyway, to lower people's expectations so that when the next bit of competition comes along, they can go, well, we need to snap back into what we had before. They haven't done it yet. And it might be because they're not there. They're not thinking about it like that. It might be because they haven't got the writers backstage to kind of deliver on that level yet. But we know there's a track history for WWE going, we need to pull the trigger and pull our finger out our ass and make our product fucking good again. And they've got the money, the resources, the experience, and the TV time to do it. So this is what I mean when I think people are deluded to say that the WWE is going under. it's not, they will.
Yeah, because
Like you say, it goes in circles.
You just go. The road agents go down. They speak to the boys. They say we want a 20-minute barn burner or a 30-minute barn burner. Pull some stuff out your bag of tricks, please, boys. Seth goes, oh really? I can play, and off he goes and has a mental match. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you've got the number one spot on the telly. You've got the viewings, you've got the ratings, you've got the pay-per-view stream out. You know, you've got the pay-per-view and the on-demand service all there, right? I think you're right. People are deluded if they think that it's down and out, but it's exciting that there is another genuine second-tier product. And I would argue there hasn't been a top-tier product since 2010.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that rounds out that point nicely. It's just that WWE's in no danger yet, but isn't it nice that there is the chance that there could be someone to kind of make them kind of up their game as well. And as I say, I do think Tony Khan is playing it right.
It's all circles. We saw this in the late 90s with WCW. We saw this in the 2007 through 2011 with TNA Impact, right? It goes around in circles. You know, you see this drove of guys go across, and then you have this like moment of, are they going to do it? Are they going to beat them off the top post? Great that they do that, because every time they do that, they force the E to respond. Keep going. Force them to up their game, force them to respond, force the workers to up their level and meet you there. Perfect, you know. And like I said before, I think that travels all the way down through the product. One of my favorite things I ever saw was from Rockstar Spud, when he was speaking about where he'd come from and what he was doing. And one of the things he said was everything in wrestling is important, from what the E are doing down to what people are doing in church halls. It's all dependent on each other. But it's all symbiotic of each other. You don't have one without the other. You can't have the E without Carney shows, and you can't have and this day and age you can't have Carney shows without the E, right? Because everyone has watch what you get to see on telly live on their poster, right? So, but that filtering down of, well, if that's what they're doing on Sunday night on a pay-per-view, why are they going to come to our church hall to see us? We best put a cracking show on. Like, I think it does. It filters all the way through. And when you have people down on the bottom level in the basement putting on shows that are absolutely incredible, and new talent coming through, seeing those sort of shows, that then feeds up, because those are the talent that are going to eventually make their way all the way up. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones that travel up the ladder. You know, not like the likes of you and me. We're quite happy where we are, but the likes of our friend Jamie, who's, you know, done Churchill shows with us and Bucklands and all sorts, and she's now out in America doing A&W. She's, you know, ringside with Britt Baker on the Grand Slam show. You know, it's all relative, because if the product hadn't been up there and she hadn't been inspired by it and done what she'd done over here, she never would have made it over here. So I think, you know, it's all relative. It's all important, and it's what's really important is keep trying really hard, no matter where you are in wrestling. Whether you're a trainee or 10-year veteran just doing church hall shows, try your hardest and do the best match you can, because you never know. That might be an inspiration or the best match someone's seen. And, you know, I don't know. I'm very much like that these days. You know that. I'm always hungry to have our best match. Yeah.
That's it. I don't think we've had it. And I think the day that we do have it, or we think that we've had it, that'll be the day that we go, well, we may as well retire. Because, you know, that is the classic adage of you're always learning in this business. There's always someone better than you, and there's always the next match. So, yeah. But on that note, it segues quite nicely into the other thing we were going to talk about. So we want to slam the Beards bucket list into the chair and kind of take it to the razor's edge and talk about stuff that we haven't done yet that we still want to do before we call it a day. And we don't know when that is, but we did talk a little bit about this at Southampton recently. We'll get into that. But what inspired this was that I realized we kind of ticked off 3 things off the list fairly recently. Like, we won a new set of tag team titles. We won the Kapow tag team titles, reunified them with the SWF belts, and have been defending them since. We debuted for 2 new promotions. So we talked about WAW, and then there was CXW recently as well up in Colchester. We had a great time down there. And then the other one was we finally got to work a tag team match with Vicious and Delicious, which is Hitman for Hire and Ant the Dash. Now, it's no big secret that, yeah, exactly. Ant and Will are tremendous workers that we've had the opportunity to mix it up with in singles in various ways. But we've never done the tag, and they're part of the Sunday Suicide Squad, so we do train with these guys, and we've been chomping at the bit.
Buddies.
Yeah, training buddies. We ran the road together loads. Like, as I said, like, we were always on the same shows, just never seemed to have that tag. And we finally had it for Quality Wrestling Academy Showcase for our good friend, Coach Rishi Ghosh. Tremendous little show. And we had a great little match with them. And again, I was like, you know, that was good. That was the closest I feel like we've come to really hitting a stride. But it was that kind of, oh, now I know what we could do differently next time, and I can't wait to do it again, and we can make it even better. So anyway.
Yeah, we definitely came away from that thinking we can mix this up and we can mix that up, and this will be better this way, and, oh, yeah, we do this. Which, yeah.
I mean, you know, it was a great little match, but it was fraught with a couple of little issues. Poor Ant hurt his knee doing the bomb scare knee drop, and there was a couple of little minor things here and there that I know that you and I were going to look at that and we're going to go, we need to tighten that bolt, we need to tighten that bolt. But yeah, I mean, that is part of the fun for me, to have something that comes that close to being really, really, really good. And then being able to go, I know what I'd do differently next time, and can we try to make it even better next time? That's the fun. That's the interesting part for me. So anyway, there was 3 things there we ticked off the kind of the bucket list, and I know that we've spoken about it on car rides and stuff in the past, and there's a couple of things that I know that we can definitely talk about, but I'm wondering if once we open the floodgates, we'll figure out some more stuff that we want to do. But I could think of 2. I'm going to mention one and maybe leave the other one for you if it jogs your memory. So the first one that comes to mind is the whole working abroad. So for us, we talked about the fact that at our age and our station in life, Europe would be fine. We are happy with just getting out across the pond and doing something in Europe. You know, some of our brothers in arms, our friends on the road that have done that. And, you know, we made up for them. It's great when we see other people have success, but also it's tinged slightly with that kind of hint of like, oh, I wish that was me. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know in particular. I know that, you know, places like Belgium, Germany, those kind of places are quite hot for wrestling. Like, I would be happy to just do just a one shot somewhere, you know, for someone. And not, let's be clear about this, because there's a kind of an etiquette with international travel. I'm not paying for a holiday and then getting booked to wrestle. I want someone to go, you're good enough that we're going to pay your expenses, we're going to put you up, and we're going to put you on the show. That's the only way for me that I will feel like I've done it. If I do it the other way, of kind of paying my own way and kind of going, oh, while I'm over here, do you mind if you just give us a booking? I'll feel like I've cheated myself. It's not the right way to do it. And you know, more, I get why people do it, to kind of get their foot in the door, and then hopefully, you know, from there it spares off into the, you know, naturally I'm going to bring you.
But that's not our bucket list item, though. That, like, it's not our bucket list item is to be. And I think this goes back to where we go back to, like, how good we want to be. We want to keep pushing ourselves. We want to be that good and keep working for even more promotions here in the UK, and make enough of a noise and be over enough that someone sees that and thinks, those British lads with the beards, what are they called? Oh, the beards. Yeah, let's get them over because they could do something on our show. That's the bucket list item, not just working on foreign soil, because the show's a show, right?
We've got to retwig the title for that. So it's not working on foreign soil, because we probably could finagle that through other ways, through back doors. I think it's like you said, it's be good enough to be asked, you know, to be brought over. Or make enough noise or just draw enough attention to make it happen somehow. So yeah, that's number 1. Well, I'm hoping that you're going to remember what number 2 was. Well, look, there's the us
2,
going to them.
We have 2 things. Oh no! So number 2, yeah. Number 2. Number 2 is working something as a tag against an imp. That's number 2.
Yeah, we want someone
working
to come over to work with us.
Yeah, we want exactly.
And again, like, there's shades within that. It would be lovely for, like, one of the big known American teams to be it and to come over and work with us. But likewise, if it's a Mexican team, a Japanese team, a European team, if they've come over and we're on a show and the promoter said, I want you two boys on with these two visiting lads, you know, we trust you to have a good match with them, that will count. I will tick that off the bucket list. That will be enough for me. I will take that gladly. Obviously, if it goes up to that kind of top tier of like someone with a bit of, you know, notoriety from over, you know, the American way, that would be even better. But
that goes back to being good enough that someone wants to put us on with. And I think that's like, for us, that is our underlying theme here. We're not asking anyone to give us anything. Our bucket list isn't about hopes and dreams that people will deliver things to us on a plate. Our bucket list is like, we want to be good enough. We want to be excelling and delivering at such a level that people want to see those matches, put those matches on. And those matches are worth putting on. Christ, you know, we had a match last weekend at Southampton, and the crowd went nuts before we even made an appearance. That's a bucket list tick as well, you know, to literally have 200 people pop for your entrance music. We hadn't even got out yet.
Yeah, that was because I remember, speaking candidly, not being overly excited rocking up to that show. There were several things going into that. Nothing major, nothing worth unpicking or like, you know, and it's not to do with anyone else. It was just my own mental headspace at that time. As soon as the music hit, before we'd even come out the curtain, they knew who it was. There was a massive uproar, which echoed inside that lovely big leisure centre. And I instantly, it was like the switch came on. And I had so much fun, like, and I've seen some of the footage back, and you can tell I'm just enjoying myself out there, and that's great.
Well, we know I enjoyed myself.
Oh yeah, well, you milked it for all it was worth. It was hilarious. I said to someone, I've never heard that section of our song. We've never had an entrance last as long as that, to the point where there's a lull in the middle of Obey the Beards. And
I've never got past it. It gets cut,
But you were going for it. You were soaking it all up, and you know, fair play to you. I totally get it. But yeah, but talking about Southampton, it kind of steers us quite nicely back to the whole bucket list thing, because we did have a chat, didn't we, about, you know, realistically, when do we get off this train? When are we done? And I don't think anyone in the business can put a time figure on it. We can't say 4 years and done, whatever, unless you've got a plan, you know what you're doing. I think people get close to the end and they recognize it and they say, I've got 2 or 3 shows left, I'm done. You know, people high up, like WWE level, they might go, I've got a year left on my contract, I'm going to take a break after that. But even then, they're not saying goodbye to the business. And I feel the same way. I think realistically, 5 to 10 years is probably, you know, that's quite an ample window. But that will depend massively on my health. And I said to you, the day when I call, because I tend to call our match these days, and then because I'll call the bolts and the nuts, and then you come in and tart it up, right? So, you know, the day that I call a falsie and I'm like, right, so Carl will either miss or hit his Mooney, you know, and that's, you know, we always get that in somewhere. So I'm calling the match and I'm like, right, are we over? Are we under? What's going on? Carl, you hitting or missing? The day that you say, I ain't doing it, that's the day that's probably like, what do you mean you ain't doing it? I ain't doing it. Then that's probably a sign that we shouldn't have that match. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But then you
there's
don't know.
There's an argument, isn't there? Because, you know, the moonsault is one of those moves that, like, you know, you can do a very, very compelling match without hitting any of that stuff, you know? It's not that I rely on it, but it's that I enjoy it. That's...
Also, you know, it's like breathing. Come on, that moonsault is like breathing to you. It doesn't hurt. It's like, that wakes you up. It feels good. The day that move scares you, the day that you're like, I ain't doing that, is probably your body so broken that you can't do it anything else anyway.
I had a run of breaking my big toes. I broke one, then the other, and then I went back and broke the original one doing that moonsault, and I still did it every time. And so it's not a fear at the moment, but I know that will catch up, and I know that there will be a point where I'm like, do you know what? I don't think I've got it in me tonight, Sam.
Although there'll be a piece of time where we can use going for it and not. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there'll be a piece of time. There'll be like a year or two where you can just hop up and rotate into your spinning senton. Like if you refuse to do your jumping turning senton and your springboard Mooney, then we've got all sorts of problems because then we're all steak and no sizzle.
Yeah, very true. And I won't want to have that kind of match. You know, I won't want to be that guy that we talked about it a little bit, didn't we, about that preconceived kind of. We went up to work with a couple of really younger lads at WAW, and we kind of read it as like, you know, I wonder if they were thinking this of us, you know, two older, bearded, fatter guys, probably not going to want to do a lot. And then we started calling stuff backstage, and their faces lit up when they realised we were there to work. But you know, what I'm deadly afraid of is actually becoming those guys who go backstage to work with the young lads, and we're like, "No, we ain't doing any of that, kid. Slow it down." I don't want to be that guy. So yeah, when I'm done landing on my head and doing the crazy stuff, that will be me saying I'm done. I won't want to tarnish what little reputation I've managed to build up.
We could just keep each other keyboards and chairs and stuff.
Oh, I could do that indefinitely. Yeah.
Start doing some light tube matches and barbecue and barbed wire matches.
Yeah.
Go and hang out with Joe. Go hang out with Big Joe. That's what we have to do.
I suppose again, you've kind of brought something up that segues into my own bucket list. I know this won't be part of yours, but this might be one of mine on my own. I've always said that, like, you know, when I was doing the whole hardcore shtick with Big League, and you know that definitely started before that, but that's when it sort of really took off. That I was the WWE Attitude Era hardcore guy. You know, pins was probably the furthest I'd go. I love working with ladders. I love working with tables. I love working with chairs. Keyboards came into it as well. You know, trash cans, that sort of thing. But there was a few things that I was like, oh, you know, barbed wire is unpredictable, fire is unpredictable, glass is unpredictable, and I kind of didn't want to mess with those too much. That said, if it was an over 18 show and I was working Big Joe in this country somewhere, I would definitely do that on a one night basis. I would do all of those
just so that you can say you've done it.
And that's it. It is literally one and done for me. I will tick that off the list. I've worked a proper death match with Big Joe in this country, done, dusted, never have to do it again. It will be a one-time only affair. But yeah, I would put that on my own personal bucket list. Is there anything that you've thought about that's just for Mad Dog, just for you?
Not a hardcore match.
No,
no. Sorry, I like hardcore. That's not true actually, because I like hardcore. In fact, my first ever singles match was with you, and it was hardcore. So I don't mind hardcore matches. I'm like you. I like things that are predictable. I like things that go one way when you swing them, and go the way that physics say they will, because they've got no strange edges on them. So yeah, I don't know. I think the big one for me, whether it's singles or tag team, the big thing for me is travel. I think that's probably my number one bucket list. I could keep doing South Coast stuff, and I could keep working. I've got one coming up actually. No, I've got one coming up that I got booked. But I don't know if I could talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. But I've got a booking that I'm super excited about. That is on my bucket list. I've wanted to do for ages.
You haven't told me about it.
It's
just
not.
For you.
But it's not. You know about it.
Oh, I do know.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you know about it. I can't really talk about it, but like, but yeah,
I've got no idea what you're on about.
It's a booking that we've got for next year. So so I've wanted to do for ages, that I've been trying to get in with for ages. So I think I really want to go back to WAW. That's not a bucket list thing. now that we've been up there. I want to go back. I'd like to do more for them. I'd like to be on, considered part of their roster, and I'd like to go back there, and I'd like to work some of their main guys. It'd be nice to go back there. Now that we've got up there and done what we did, it'd be nice when they invite us back and say, hey, can you these guys, or do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be the Hooligans. I'd love to work the Hooligans. This is part of the prospect of working the Hooligans. I think part of the prospect of working the Hooligans, by the way, I think I've talked about some other people, I think they've misunderstood the nervousness about working the Hooligans. I've got absolutely no concerns working with Zach and Roy, right? I've known Zach for absolutely donkey's years. And what worries me about working them, what makes me nervous about working them, is making sure that that we're at the right level, that we're there. It's not like I don't have no I have no concerns about them and how they work. They work exactly how I like to work. That's not a concern for me. What concerns me is that we can be there with them. That we do ourselves proud, and we put a banging match on that they're proud of as well. They're like, yeah, that was incredible. We really enjoyed working the Beards, and they remember that match as a match that they enjoyed too. That's what I want. So. Yeah, but no, I think the big number one thing for me is I think I'd like to travel. Before I'm done, I'd like to be able to say, oh yeah, we did Germany, or we did Italy. You know what I mean? We went down and we did Italy. We got booked and we did like 4 shows, or you know what I mean? Because you hear those stories. We travel with Chris. We travel with Flatliner. We travel with Chris K. We travel with all sorts of people we travel with over the years, and they all have great stories of traveling in Germany with Rikishi or with Yokozuna, or you know what I mean, back in the day. And that'd be great. That's kind of, we've both been doing this quite a while now, and we have got some really cool stories. But when I hang up my boots, or I pass my boots on to Tom, I want to be able to say, here, lad, and just be careful when you go to Germany. Make sure you do this and you do that. And from a point of view of having experienced it, I think Germany's the one for me, actually, Europe-wise. I think Germany's the one, just because of the way, Germany or Denmark, just because of the way I know how big their fans are. They're the two that I think are hot. I know Belgium's good as well. I know everyone talks about Belgium shows. From what I've seen, Germany would be Berlin or Frankfurt, or one of the big German outfits would be absolutely like up there on the bucket list. I think their production value is really good as well. Our friends, the Heartbreakers, went out and did some Germany matches, and I remember watching theirs, and the production value. So anything, that's it as well. Anything where the production value is high, that's where I want to be. I want everything that we do to be elevated. That's important to me now. So I don't know.
No, it's like I said in a recent comment about, I was talking about the McCluskey match that's coming up actually, but I said that my story in wrestling has been Rocky 1. It's that idea of I don't have to beat the best and be at the top. I just want to hang, and I feel like you and I have got a similar mentality. We know at this stage in the game and at our station in life, we're not going to go to the upper echelons, but we want to at least be at the top of our game here and hang with some of the best that are on their way up to that level, to offer something on the level that we're currently at that is marketable and desirable, and people want to see it and people pay to use it. I think I'd be happy with that too.
I think we might have to wrap up here and let your voice have a bit of a rest, mate. Which is okay. It's not a problem. You need to get your rest. We got a big week. You got a big weekend coming up next week. We got like 3 weekends in a row. We've got Paul for the FWF Kapow Alliance. We've got Crawley, which is our second visit up to Crawley to the K2. I think did you come up to K2 last week? You did, because you spent the night with Wade. You had the night with Wade in hospital. Rest. Don't try this shit at home, kids. Leave it to the professionals. And even then, don't. Still some stuff the professionals shouldn't do. The K2's gonna be. Man, we do well at the K2 first. I think we got like 280, 300. And if they're as hungry as the other territories we've been visiting recently, I think that should be a cracking show. And then obviously you've got UPW. I'm hoping to jump in the car with you, even just to travel with you.
Man.
For a bit of moral support.
I need all the moral support I can get.
And what have you. And then we've got Premiere, half-term holiday. We've got Premiere. I think you've got two with Premiere. I've only got one. But yeah, we've got Premiere in the half-term as well. So there's lots going on. Please, guys, if you've hung around, I know it's only 40 minutes today. Thank you for hanging around to the end. Please like and subscribe and share. Please drop us messages. Let us know if there's anything that you want us to talk about or cover. If there's any guests you want us to try to get on. You know the shows we work, the people we work with. If there's any of those guys from our locker room that you think, you know what, we'd love to see the Beards have Antler KO, or we'd really like to see you have Chris back on the show, or Priscilla back on, or whoever it might be, get Look at You back on, or what have you. Let us know, talk to us, let us know what you want to see. We're going to start putting together season 5. We've got 2 episodes left. We're going to start putting together our plans for season 5. So it'd be great to hear from you guys what you'd like to see. I know I've got some plans to talk about a little bit more, go back to our roots and start talking a little bit more about the wrestling theory and craft a little bit, although we have got some competition with our good friend Priscilla, who's now running the Theory of Wrestling. If you haven't checked that out, go check out the Theory of Wrestling. Carl, anything you want to add, mate?
No, just as always, chop those buttons. Just give us a follow. There's another thing we can put on the bucket list, and that you guys can genuinely help us with, is that kind of magic 100 subscriber thing, so that we can have a proper YouTube URL. Help us achieve that one. It's a small one. You guys can make it happen. Make it happen for us. Tick that one off the bucket list for us, please.
Yeah.
Oh. Try not to cough.
Go die quietly.